All right, so today a judge heard arguments in the legal challenge against Tennessee's new congressional map in state court, which is Thursday. The judge decided to deliberate privately on it, and we are staying on top of updates. At this time of this recording, we have not heard the outcome from that hearing. A little bit later, we're going to get into the NAACP's call for boycotts, but we want to rehash out a little bit more about the candidates running for Districts 8 and 5. So let's open it back up to Scott McCormick here. So let's talk about District 8. We have the lone Republican and incumbent David Kustoff running for re-election. But we also have on the Democratic side Heidi Kuhn, who's a familiar name for the Memphis area, obviously coming off of her mayoral run, county mayoral run. But yeah, tell us about just a little bit about what you think about Kustoff's re-election and if the Dems have a chance to flip the seat.
I think Kustoff's race is a shoe-in. The district, even though it was changed a little bit, is still 8 to 10 points in favor of the Republicans. He's well-funded. He has a high name ID, and he will win easily, no matter who the Democrats nominate.
Okay. Do you think Heidi Kuhn will make a good run for it, though?
Well, you know, she's coming off a fourth-place finish in the mayoral race, and I question, you know, her ability of how funds that she's going to raise. And this is a big district. She's known here in Shelby County, but when you stretch out, you know, as far as this district goes, I don't think she has any amount of name recognition that David Kustoff has, and that's going to be a challenge for her.
Okay. We're also seeing the incumbent Andy Ogles on District 5. So, I mean, feel free, you both, Otis and Tawanda, touch on District 8, but I also want to leave time for District 5 with Andy Ogles there, because I know that's kind of a hot topic.
Right. Well, very briefly on District 8, I agree with Scott on this. David Kustoff is a shoe-in here, but now that he has more of Shelby County and into Memphis in the district, he needs to stop hiding. He needs to come into the city and talk to Memphians and not spend all of his time up in Weakley County and Obion County and think that he has done something. He needs to be more visible here, because I'm in his district now too, and so is Scott. But District 5, if the incumbent Andy Ogles wins, that'll be a gift for the Democrats, because he is racked with scandal. He's been under investigation. He's a terrible incumbent. Even the Trump administration's Justice Department started to investigate him, and then they backed off. Surprise, surprise. And Chaz Moulder is the candidate that I think the Democrats should seriously look at. He's the mayor of Columbia. He's going to be in Memphis a lot. He's the son-in-law of Craig Fitzhugh, who is the mayor of Ripley and a former state representative, very popular in that northern tier of West Tennessee. He will help him a lot. I think if Ogles wins, it's a gift for the Democrats.
I agree with both of these gentlemen. I really do. And I must admit, I have been disappointed in David Kustoff. I know he's going to be the front runner, he's going to win. But I've been disappointed because I stood up and said, because he was from Memphis, I felt that we would have a champion on some of the issues we care about. And that just hadn't panned out. Now, I want to say this in closing. I really think Memphis is a torchbearer for the nation. Because when Harold E. Ford ran against Dan Kirkendall, blacks were not in the majority. We were in the minority. But he ran a race that brought blacks and whites and independents together and toppled that Republican. And then as we grew more black and whites took flight, we still chose people based on what we thought they could do for this community and chose Steve Cohen. Now, to me, that's what democracy is about.
Okay. Scott.
Oh, I agree with you.
Well, you know, I want to go back to Kustoff. I think he will be more in Memphis, because when elected, Cohen basically had the city of Memphis, and he was the dominant congressman, and David, you know, visited more of his constituents. He had a huge district. I think it's like, 15 or 20 counties. But now that Memphis has been split up, he has more more ground to cover. And he works hard, and I think you will see him in more activity in Memphis.
Well, I'll wait and see if he does.
Okay.
I'm still not convinced. But to Juan's point, we've been talking about this on the show a lot. The Supreme Court ruling out of Louisiana does not apply to Memphis.
It does not.
Memphis was not originally drawn as a black district. 36% African American have for senior first won the district. And so it has evolved over that. So you're absolutely right on that. And that just shows you the inequity, the racial inequity that the state legislature used to redraw these districts anyway. It was a power grab based on racism.
Okay, I do want to just have a quick note because we're running into time on this segment, but the NAACP Tennessee Conference is heading that lawsuit as well to challenge the new congressional map. However, the NAACP is also calling for a boycott of Southern schools for athletes and fans to take a stand against the athletic programs in order to stand up for voting rights. So really quickly from all three of you all, do you all think that fans and, particularly athletes will actually participate in this boycott?
I don't think they will short term, but I think long term it will be a culture switch in the minds of young athletes, just like Colin Kaepernick. When you start thinking about the oppression of your people, the silencing of your people, you start making choices that will benefit you as well as your people. Now, it won't come overnight. I don't think it's going to happen in the next couple of years, but it will come. And I think that message will help get that out there.
Well, coming from an Ole Miss graduate, that could definitely...
I just think it's kind of unfair to put the onus on 18-year-old athletes to say, turn down the money because they're getting paid these days to go to college. And I just don't think that is the right approach here. These 18-year-olds haven't even voted yet. And the people who were eligible to vote didn't vote, and that's why we're in the mess we are in. So I'm not sure about the athletes. But if you want to boycott the schools and boycott the games and boycott it, certainly the sponsors, then that's fair game because this is wrong.
And Scott, you have the last point on this before.
Well, boycotting is fine. It's a peaceful way to stand up for your rights. But I agree with Otis in the point of the best thing, if you want to change things, go vote. Get your neighbors to vote. When I study voting rolls, and we barely top 40% in voter participation.
Yeah, in big elections.
In big elections. Think about that. In our primary here in Shelby County, which a lot of the offices were determined in this primary and will for the next 4 years will be who runs Shelby County, 16% of the people came out and voted. So if you really want to make it, boycotts are fine, but if you really want to make a change, come out and vote on both sides, Republicans and Democrats, and independents. Come out and vote. Let's get some voter participation, and then we can see what
That's a
makes
strong
some
message
change.
there.
Thank
That's
you.
a good one to end on. All right, when we come back, a Memphis death row inmate escapes death on the day of his execution. We'll talk about the case. Stay with us.